I'm out here early this morning. I'm just checking on the hay, and to know if your hay is dry, a common trick I guess is to take it and roll it, and if you can do that 3 times and it don't break, it's not ready yet. So this was from the bottom of the pile there that I cut 2 days ago. So I think if I flip it this morning, that it'll be ready by this afternoon. Now here's something I was waiting for somebody to notice, and one of my followers on Facebook called it out. He said, when are you going to turn these mirrors around? I noticed that whenever I took this thing for a drive in the yard when I first got it, but I never took the time to get them switched around. But I'm going to do that today before we bale hay, get these turned around so I can kind of see what's going on a little bit. That was a good eye though. I was waiting. And then this one is sitting clear behind the stack. Huh, I have to take that off. Well, it's a beautiful morning. I just hope it stays that way. And I've heard different reports for the weather for tomorrow, because I don't know if this hay is going to be ready today or not. But I've heard different reports. There could be storms, no storms. So I'm going to try to do it today if we can. There we go. I'll turn this a little bit if I can. There we go. There we go. Okay, perfect. Now it's on the right side of that stack. Put these caps back on. And flip my mirror around. And kind of angle it down a little bit. All right, now the mirrors are facing the right way. All right, so I'm about ready to get started here for the day. There wasn't much morning dew, so whatever was there is gone. And I already got the hay rake hooked up to the MT 473. And I think my plan for out here, I'm just gonna kind of wing it like I did last year. It worked out. I try to make as little windrows at first as I can so it can dry out more. I just want to flip it basically, since I don't have a hay tedder yet. But I'm definitely going to have to start with the outside rows and push them in, and then maybe just touch another row and bring it out with it, and then from there on just kind of turn over 2 of these rows at a time, and hope that it's going to be dry here this afternoon or early tomorrow morning. All right, so the problem of the day, I'm not even halfway done through raking yet, and then my gearbox started acting up like it was locking up or something, which I made sure it had plenty of oil yesterday, and I've greased everything, so I'm going to mess with it here. And then it sounds like something's loose, because it was quiet inside the cab, and all of a sudden I started hearing clanking. So I don't know if that's the gearbox or something else on here, so I'm going to go ahead and look it over. Okay, so the good news, the clanking is coming from this piece here. It just loosened up, so I'm going to tighten that. That's good. But then the gearbox, it was locked up, so then the tires they weren't moving at all, so I backed up and the tires moved, and I came out, and now I'm able to move this a little bit. This is what engages the gearbox. I wish it would move some more though. I'm going to mess with that a little bit. Okay, I had to completely cut that bolt off because it was so wallered out and rusted up. But we're just going to replace it with this one, I think. Yep. Have to drill that out a little bit, I think. Okay, let's see. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Now get rid of that clanging noise. I don't know if that had anything to do with the gearbox acting up. Maybe it did. Maybe this thing was shaking around too much or something. Get these tightened up. Alright, so here's where we're at. I've determined that it's something going on in the gearbox, and it is engaging. It's just this PTO shaft won't turn very far anyway. So something's in there. So I think I'm going to have to take this off and completely disassemble it. And I think we're going to save that for another day. But in the meantime, those windrows aren't very big, but I think we're going to try to bale them this afternoon. Well, everybody, I don't know if you can tell by my face, but I am hot and tired, but I do have the baler hooked up. And even though we're not going to be able to bale this whole field, I'm going to try to do what I raked this morning. We'll see what kind of problems we get into now. Chugging along here. It does like to miss one every so often, but overall it's doing the best that I've ever done with it. So nothing, I don't want to jinx myself, so I'm not going to say nothing else, but we're doing good. All right, so as you can see, we did pretty good. We got pretty much everything that we raked baled, and the baler did great until the very end. Kelsey and I were riding together. She was riding in the buddy seat, and we were going over bales that fell apart. It missed some, and that's okay. And we were just climbing up this hill here, and a shear bolt went. So at least I know how to change them. Now I'm gonna unhook the baler and go hook up to my hay trailer that I built over the winter. All right, I think our hay trailer is gonna work, huh? All right, let's load her up. All right, guys, so it's the next day here, and it is hot and humid. You can tell it's getting ready to storm here eventually. But I didn't film too much of putting the hay up in the barn, but here it is. We got about 54 bales, by my count yesterday. And like I said, I didn't get much to film because I was tired, and then I had to go work midnights last night too. But yeah, we did pretty good for that round, considering we didn't get to do the whole field and because of that hay rake. But I got that tore apart right now, and I think it's going to work. So let me show you. Okay, so if you remember, I told you and I showed you that the PTO shaft can spin when the tire is lifted up off the ground. It wants to do it. So what was holding it up was these gears in here. And I knew that because if you disengaged this gearbox, that PTO shaft would spin and would spin the tire. So then this gearbox wouldn't spin, but whenever I took it off, something must have fell out of it. I missed it because I kind of dropped it. But now my gears are spinning and the output shaft is spinning. So I soaked this, put kerosene in it and looked for anything I could find, and I'm looking right now and I don't really see nothing. So I'm going to look a little bit more and then just put this back on. There we go. Gears are turning. All right, well, I'll pack this full of grease and then straighten up all them teeth, and we should be good. Now, when I had that apart and I checked it that one last time, I did find that little chunk of metal right there. So that could have been stuck in the gears, but I didn't see any broken teeth or anything. But I'm glad we opened it up anyway, because now the gears are moving and everything's working. All right, so the hay rake and the hay baler are fixed, but sadly we're not going to be able to finish baling the hay that I cut because I can hear thunder in the distance right now. We got storms coming tonight and a lot tomorrow, so I'm probably just going to have to brush hog that and cut it all up. But next time we'll be ready. But for sure, having this hay trailer was a huge help. That helped us get more bales out of the field quicker, and I cannot say enough good things about this tractor. I know when I use that square baler with my XR 4040, every time that plunger goes, you feel the whole tractor shake. You don't feel that in this tractor. And then on the hills, power does not decrease at all. This thing is awesome, and I'm getting spoiled by it very, very quickly. So I hope you like this video. We'll be doing some more hay baling, but like I said, I want to have a hay tedder next time we do it, and that'll help us get things done a little bit quicker. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up if you would. We'd appreciate it. And until next time, everybody, thanks for watching.